Hi, I'm Micah Clark. Thank you for joining us today for this short video on Friday. I want to first of all thank everyone for the comments I got from last week's video with John Ruckelshaus, former state senator. We got a lot of positive comments about his observations on the upcoming election. I want to keep with that theme just a little bit. I know this is fall break for a lot of people, so we're just doing a quick kind of a recap to remind you of a few things. First of all, I've said it before, but I want to say it again, iVoterGuide.com. Unfortunately, it's the only online voter guide I know of. We don't have paper voter guides anymore that I know of in Indiana, but iVoterGuide.com is a fabulous source. I know there's some other groups that have done endorsements and things like that, Right to Life and others. But if you don't know, try iVoterGuide.com. Of course, the local elections are kind of difficult. School board races are extremely important. Encourage you to ask people locally about who to vote for there in your area. I don't have a list of those folks. You know, there's a lot of issues in school boards, from referendums, which is a raise on your property tax, to issues like libraries and content in libraries, things like that, school safety. But don't forget about school board races. Try to do the best you can. Vote for the ones you know who you think are probably the most conservative and pro-family. But I also want to thank you if you voted early. I know that's important this year. But these last week or two is going to heat up a lot. It'll probably get negative in a lot of cases. I know a lot of you are tired of it, but it's so important that you get out, vote, encourage your family to vote, encourage other people to vote. It's the one blessing we have as Americans where we can all participate in this and have our say. I want to mention something I read just recently, and I'm not sure what to make of this. Many of you know George Barna does a lot of polling. This was a pre-election survey of self-identified Christians who regularly attend church services. It's a pre-election survey. 2,000 church-going, self-identified Christians were interviewed. Here are a few of the highlights. 57% of these evangelical Christians who regularly attend church believe the outcome of the November 2024 election will make a big difference in their lives. I mean, in the world I live in, you'd think that'd be a little bit more. I'm probably a little jaded because of all I do every day here at AFA, but 57%, I think this election will affect almost everybody. You have two very different directions where the parties are going, where candidates are going, and whoever wins, I think will point this nation in a very different direction. So maybe that's a bit low. I think that underestimates the importance of this election. 29% say the November election will only make some difference. Well, you know, that depends on what races you're thinking of. You know, there's a lot of candidates who maybe not that different, but I see a lot of distinctions in this race. And even if a candidate is not with you 100%, I think there's a big difference between two candidates and two different worldviews. 23% of church Christians identified moral decline as the defining issue in this election. I'd say that's 100% difference. Moral decline is, in my view, one of the most important issues, not just a 1 in 4 issue. The direction of our country morally affects our families. It affects our social problems in America. It affects the economy. It affects so many things. And we are at a moral tipping point, I'm afraid. Maybe we've even gone over that. 42% of church-going Christians support abortion on demand. I'd like to say that shocks me, but simply going to church doesn't mean you necessarily follow what the Bible says about life. I think the Bible is very clear, but that is more of an indication of a problem in the church than a problem in politics. If 42% of people who go to church every week think abortion's okay, maybe they're at the wrong church, and maybe they just haven't studied that issue. But that's a little bit surprising and concerning. 67% identify economic matters as the top concern, especially inflation and the cost of living. I get that. We're all buying groceries and gasoline every week. Property taxes are up. Other things are up. Yeah, that's a very big issue. The debt is an issue with 33%. 43% name the importance of addressing poverty and homelessness. That may be connected to the 42% of people who think abortion's okay. That may be more social justice type churches. Not saying that poverty and homelessness is not important, but take that for what you will. That's certainly a problem we should address. And abortion ranks 7th among Christian voters. So it's may say a lot about how much our culture impacts people of faith as well. So this is the final thing they ask. When asked if they would prefer that churches be more involved or less involved in the 2024 election than they have been in other recent elections, the respondents were split. 42% said the status quo was fine, preferring the same level of involvement as in the past with their church. The other half of the respondents were evenly divided between saying they prefer the churches to be more involved, 25%, or less involved, 27%. So 42% say status quo is fine, and another 27% say churches should be less involved. I think these issues are not political issues. We're dealing with moral and spiritual issues. My view is churches need to be more involved in addressing the issues of the day, regardless of whether it's an election year or not. So thought you would find that of interest. Again, I appreciate you joining us. Appreciate you supporting AFA. I encourage you to read our weekly emails, have people sign up for those. Thank you for watching this video. Please, again, go to ivoterguide.com before you vote, and make sure you and your family vote and vote your values this election. Well, I'm Micah Clark with American Family Association. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend.